I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready, I think. Okay. So, Ro, thanks for coming on Rad-Ventures. This is the podcast that talks us through the journey of entrepreneurs. You are an entrepreneur, I believe. So, if you wouldn't mind telling us what it is you do.
Hi, Richard. It's really nice to be invited onto your podcast. I'm a reflexologist, a complementary therapist, and I work in Weymouth, which is our common land, I think. And I work mostly with women, usually people that are trying to get pregnant, people that are pregnant already, people that are having babies, and people of my own age, which is sort of the 40 plus. I'm not going to be too precise about how old I am, because, but and I work in my home studio here, in the garden, giving people really relaxing treatments and helping them to feel better and get them to a place where they are achieving what they want to.
Nice, nice. You don't look a day over 29.
So kind. A
Um,
bit more.
so, is that something you wanted to do from a young age, or?
No, I was the career person's absolute nightmare. I was like at the school and they're like, you're, I don't know, 13, and they're like, would you like to choose your subjects for when you grow up and leave school? And I'm like, no. And what would you like to do, Ro? And I'm like, I don't know. So from that point on, I was just like the problem child at school, because I didn't have a goal in life. There were some kids at my school and they wanted to go and be dentists and they wanted to be vets and fire officers, and there's me go, I don't know. And I just think it's a silly age to ask people what they want to be. But no, I did not have a defined career in mind at any point in my life, actually, until I was quite old. But I think that's quite common for a lot of self-employed entrepreneurs, that you don't really know what you want to do until you grow up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that is the underlying message of the show is what do you want to do when you grow up, implying that hopefully we don't ever to grow up. But
No,
I understand completely. To be asked at 14 what you want to do for the rest of your life, it's just not realistic, really, is it?
no.
Briefly, and this show's about you, Ro, but for me, when I was 14, I wanted to be a marine biologist, and then I realised that I wasn't great at biology. So then Ali McBeal was popular at the time. So then I wanted to be a solicitor, but I'm not bad at academics, but that wasn't the way forward for me. But so where did you go from school then?
So I actually went to Weymouth College. I've been there so many times. I think I've probably been about 7 or 8 times now in my long career. And I actually did business studies. I was one of the first intake to do a BTEC National Diploma at the college. And I did my first year, and then I went to school in America for a year. And then I came back and did my second year. And then after that, I did go to uni for a year, but it really wasn't for me. And I ended up working in a marketing company. So selling, I mean, people will hate me for this. I used to sell mailing lists to companies so that they could send you mail in the post about their rugs or house coatings or whatever. And it was actually quite an interesting job, and I learned so much from it. And I just swished around doing various business administration and office managing type jobs for a long time. And I ended up working for a company that's based in the UK, but actually wanted to set an office up in America. So I was working between Chicago and where I lived at the time, which was Hemel Hempstead. And then I decided that I really wasn't like enjoying my life. Like I was working for other people and making them money, but I wasn't making myself happy with what I was doing. So I started looking around for something else, and I came across a leaflet about reflexology. And I don't know why, it just gripped me, and I was like, oh, this is so interesting. I really want to do it. And I was at the point of leaving my job. And then I fell pregnant. which was very unexpected because we'd been told that we weren't going to be able to get pregnant. We'd been going through some investigations. So that kind of made me stop. I had to stay at work so that I could get my maternity benefits until I had my baby. And then I had a really long break because then I had my baby and then another one very quickly after that. So then I was a mum for quite a long time. It's just, that's a full-time job as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
You
yeah, of
don't
course.
get a lot of spare time, and I'm in awe of anybody that goes to work and has small children at the same time. It's exhausting. But then the college came back into my life because they were offering a proper qualification in reflexology, like a properly verified one that you can get insurance for and practice as a qualified person. So I went back to college and qualified as a reflexologist in 2016. So that's 8 years ago.
Oh, nice. And how long did that? How long was that particular course then?
At that time, it was about over an academic year, and we had to do anatomy and physiology, which I never thought I'd be any good at because when we were doing biology and physics and all that at school, chemistry, I was absolutely hopeless. It was like my worst subject. But actually, anatomy and physiology for people, it's really, really interesting. I mean, the fact that you can stand up and breathe and move as a person, it's astonishing the amount of stuff that has to go on in your body to make that happen. So I found that fascinating. And then we also had to do 100 treatment hours in either the college's salon or in our own spaces at home. So it's quite a lot of work to get the qualification. And I managed to do it. So like I was still looking after my kids at the time and going to the college in the evening, and it was quite hard work, but really enjoyable. And I've been practicing ever since.
Yeah, that's really good. So that was 2016, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've been practicing all since then, as your own practice. And I don't suppose no one wants to really hear about this, but how did those few years, 4 years ago, affect it? Obviously, with person-and-person contact and the dreaded COVID word. How did that affect your business?
It absolutely, completely, and emptied it. I mean, we were shut down, obviously, with everybody at the beginning, and because we were classified in with sex workers, which was subsequently, like, we did get reclassified, but because we were sort of kind of in that area, we were forced to wait a lot longer than almost every other business before we could reopen. So it was, I mean, we're talking months. We just sat here twiddling our fingers, going, please, we've got clients that need our help. And at the same time, I sustained a shoulder injury, which meant I couldn't work. So for me, I was off work for about 8 months and I lost almost all of my clients. So I've had to completely rebuild my business. And of course, because of the way the pandemic eventuated, we kind of went in fits and starts where we were open, we were closed, we could see people, we couldn't see people. It almost did for me, actually. And it's been very hard rebuilding the business. I'm only just now beginning to get back to the point where I was in at the end of 2019.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad to hear that you're obviously getting back on your feet. But it was a mess back
Yes.
then. But we won't go down we won't go down the political aspect of that. But little when I started this podcast, little did I think that we would have reflexology and sex workers in the same sentence. But there you go.
Me neither, but that's where the government put us because we were close contact. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
doctors are equally close contact, but they weren't in with the sex workers. And we're like, well, I know we're not doctors, but if hairdressers are allowed to do hairdressing, surely I can be 6 foot from the other person's face down at the foot end working with them. But the government said no. But we did
Yeah,
eventually get moved into, like, we were removed from the massage and sex parlour department into sort of more like hair and beauty, which we're not. But, for us, it meant that we could go back to work sooner eventually. So, yeah. It has
yeah.
been a really difficult 4 years, I won't lie. And a lot of people in my industry have thrown the towel in and either gone back to working for other people or just given up on their own businesses, which is really sad.
Yeah, that is it's really sad that we've come to that in this day and age. Obviously there's other aspects going on in the world
Yeah.
that we don't really want to go down that road. It's supposed to be a happy podcast, so but I'm glad that things are starting to rebuild for you. And so, if you talk us through then how one would, get in touch and the type of services that you offer.
Okay, so I always like to talk to the people that potentially want to work with me. So, and because of previous issues, I've taken my phone number away from my website and all of my materials because I was getting quite a lot of dodgy phone calls. So the only way that people can now get in touch with me is they send me an email via my website. So there's a contact form on there, or they can. Yeah, and then they can ask to book a free call with me, and that is literally just so that I can see that it's a genuine contact, and also to give people the opportunity to talk to me, for me to talk to them, to see exactly what they're trying to get out of a potential appointment with me from reflexology. Because some people have unachievable goals for a holistic therapy. They're like, oh, you can fix this, you can fix that. So I can't actually fix anything. The goal with reflexology and all the treatments that I offer is to allow people to get their body into a place where it's working really well. So to be balanced, because a lot of people, something's out of balance. They might have, I've got a lot of people that've got shoulder injuries or hip injuries, and those affect the way their whole bodies work. And reflexology can give their bodies time and space to sort of realign and become comfortable, where people have been in a lot of pain before. They can find a lot of relief from reflexology. So yeah, so the best way to get in touch with me is to book a free call, and then after that, I've got an online booking system, much like yourself, and you can just book in for whatever treatments that you want. So I offer foot reflexology, facial reflexology. Just about to introduce a new type of massage, which is in the holistic vein, which is Ayurvedic facial massage, which is again based on holistic principles, which is very relaxing. And I teach baby reflexology classes as well. So that's for people with new babies looking for a way to bond, and maybe meet new people as well. It's really hard when you've just had a baby, often A, to get out of the house, but B, to meet people. So it's kind of like a little parent and baby group, as well as learning reflexology to help your baby. And those can be really nice. And I occasionally run workshops as well.
I love that because like you say, when you had a baby, it is difficult to find like-minded parents or people in the
Yeah.
same situation. So, and obviously, sometimes you make friends for life there.
Yeah, really, you can. I mean, I'm still in touch with people that I met well, actually, when I was in hospital with my first baby, because he was very early. So I was on the antenatal ward for quite a long time, and I'm still in touch with those people that were also in a similar situation. So yeah, it's amazing how long these bonds can last, and you never know where they might pop up.
Yeah. So back to reflexology then. I mean,
Mm.
we've known each other a little while on Instagram now. I'm not sure how long it is that we've been connected.
But why?
But yeah, I think it must be 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, I
I
think.
think from the COVID times, actually, because
Yeah, I must go and check.
that's where we all live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you kind of fell into a camp, didn't you? And my camp was Instagram. Some people were on to LinkedIn. Some people are stuck with Facebook. It's not my favorite. You heard it here first.
No.
But so yeah, so we've been connected a while on Instagram, and actually, you did send me a guide once on some reflexology to have a look through.
Yes.
Which I still use some of those exercises to today with regard to the hands while we're in meetings, etc. So yes, that was very interesting, and perhaps people could visit your page and they could look up the guide.
Yeah, I mean, if they visit my page, it actually pops up and says you can get my guide. All you've got to do is give me your email address, basically. And
I like
I
it.
have updated it. So if you want the new version, Richard, let me know. I will send you the up-to-date one. It just looks more fancy, but I'm hoping that it was a useful resource for you to have.
yeah, I mean, like I say, it's I'm doing it now. It's sweaty palms behind this ring light, and being on the camera. But yeah, now thumb is well and truly in my palm.
Right, I'm really glad to hear that. And that particular move on the solar plexus is one that I find really helpful for most people. And like you say, you can do it, nobody can see you, and it can just give you like that little extra bit of confidence and calmness that you might need in any kind of situation. Is one that I teach to absolutely everybody.
It's definitely a good one. Right, so let's move on to what we call the quickfire questions. Though,
Oh,
having looked at these questions, I don't think they're going to be that quick to answer.
no.
So we'll work our way through and we'll see how we go. Okay, so you did mention before that you're 29.
Yes.
So what has your favorite age been so far?
Well, obviously now, because being 29 permanently is excellent. No, genuinely, this is probably for me the best stage of my life in terms of like being comfortable with who I am, what I want to do, and where I am generally. It's great. I'm less uncertain about things. I've spent a lot of time in my younger years worrying about what other people thought and felt about me, and actually, that's completely irrelevant. It's what you yourself think about you.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. A fantastic tidbit there, and many, you hear that quite reflected quite a lot through this type of podcast.
Mm,
Is people often worry what other people think when actually people are busy with their own thoughts
yeah.
rather than thinking about you, etc. I use quite a lot of quotes in my daily life. So, do you have a favorite quote? It could be from a movie, a meme,
I
or some other thing.
I do. I absolutely love the film Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which may display my age more relevantly. But I just love the bit that he says at the end, which is life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around now and again, you'll miss it.
It's so true, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, you
That's
know,
why
I,
it's
I think,
that's why I love it because it's true. I mean, it may be an old saw, but it is very true. You do have to stop and look around.
yeah, I mean, we're recording this August now, um, and so I posted something on my Instagram story yesterday, and it said, that I can't believe how fast time's going, what with all this heat and everything. And so it was like, January, February,
Oh,
March, and then it was April, May, June, July. I was like, where has that time gone? The beginning of the year was so slow, and now we blink and it's August already.
yeah. Yeah, it's quite frightening.
Uh,
And I think the older you get, the worse that is as well. That you notice it more.
yeah, things to look forward to, folks.
It's not all bad.
Oh, all right, Ro. Google Suite or Microsoft 365 is our third question.
Well, you might guess I've got a Mac, so it's not going to be a Microsoft thing. I am fully on Google all the time, apart from the silly little Chrome, whatever it
Ah,
is.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. When Riverside do watch this podcast, because they will, because
They will.
we are going to be a hit.
Yeah.
We do need to talk to Riverside FM about Chrome.
Yes, we do. We have questions.
Um, yes, yes. I mean, personally, for me, Google Suite and Microsoft 365, I can see the benefits in both. I've used both,
Yeah.
but I do. I think it's part of my age thing in that we always had Microsoft Office in
Hmm.
my youth. It was always a Microsoft thing that I always tend to lean more towards the Microsoft. I don't know what it is about Google, but yes.
I
Anyway,
think I think I
question.
was traumatized by that bloody paperclip, so I never. I don't know if people
Oh,
will remember the paperclip, but if you don't want something really irritating jumping up in your face, then Google's definitely the place to go. Um,
he did pop up from nowhere, didn't he? What was his name? Clippy.
Clippy, yeah. I was like, why
Yeah,
are you
he just
here? I
popped out
don't
of
need your
nowhere.
help.
Yes. It was the precursor to AI, isn't it? The old in fact that's probably what they're just using now, similar software.
Yeah, with the same kind of code behind it as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yeah. They just didn't change it. It's still Clippy. What one day that's going to turn into what's it called on Terminator? That's what Clippy is. That's going to be that AI that takes over the world.
I don't think he's got the capacity.
No.
Skynet? It's not going to be
Skynet, that's
Skynet.
it.
No,
Yeah,
no.
that's it. Yeah. Clippy is Skynet. You heard it here first on the Rad-Ventures podcast. Right, where are we up to? So, number 4. If you were stranded on a desert island, what app could you not live without?
Well, I'm assuming that I've got all the necessities for everything else, but I think I'd want my email really.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a that is a hypothetical situation. It's
Hmm.
unlikely that you could be stranded on a desert island with a computer that worked and the battery power for it. But presuming that you had a battery source and your computer, and
Yeah.
maybe it was a signal thing that you had a problem with, no broadband on the desert island.
Mm.
Um, then yes, emails are a must. Do you check your emails often? Are you an email addict?
I wouldn't say I was an addict. And I don't actually have my emails on push or anything like that because I got sick of it just, constantly telling me I had emails. So what I do is I maybe check it. I probably, to be honest, it depends. It depends whether I'm working or if I'm working, I don't check it at all. I'll check them when I've finished at the end of the day. But I usually check them in the morning, maybe at lunchtime, unless I'm expecting something. So I wouldn't say I'm an addict, but it is just the most useful form of communication. I can remember when I first started work when I was like 16 in an office, we used to fax things, and it's just such a tedious way of communicating with people. Or we type letters and put them in the post. And I just still like now, because I'm a child of pre-computerized communications, I still find it amazing that, you can do things like you can buy a house by communicating with your solicitor completely or almost completely online without having to go and get a piece of paper given to somebody. You can actually, because there's things like DocuSign and stuff like that where you can do secure storage. Even for my own work, I can get a health consultation form for a client and it can be completely confidential and stored, and I'll get it immediately. That is such a benefit to me to be able to have access to that kind of thing, and I think email's great for that, for facilitating communication between people. If social media fell off a cliff, what would you be left with? If you've got an email list, you can still get in touch with people. I
Yeah, of
think
course.
that's
Email and sorry, I interrupted then.
it's okay. No, that I was at the end.
Um, cool. Yeah, email lists are most important.
Yeah.
And it is a fantastic world we live in. Like you say, back in the old days, you had to type out letters, send them in the post, wait for the postman to bring them, type out a reply, send it backwards and forwards. I am definitely a fan of email, and I like the informalness of an email. No need for full on King's English as we call it now, I suppose.
Well, it just
Yeah,
depends on your audience, though, doesn't it? I mean, you can rip one off to as a complaint. You can really give them the full, like, I'm really quite unimpressed with your customer service, sir. Or you can go, hey mates, do you want to go down the pub tomorrow? I mean, it's flexible in all ways, isn't it?
yeah, of course. But when you got the old typewriter out, you had to give it the old "Dear Sirs," ching
Yes.
ching ching ching
And you'd
ching
have to
ching
think
ching.
it through because you could not just backspace and delete everything. I learned to type on a typewriter, and I mean, it's great to be able to type, but the actual, like, the process of writing a letter has to be really well thought out before you start. And with email, you can just change it. If you've made a mistake, it's fine.
Yeah, I think the old Tipex from when we had to write in the old days. It's
Yeah.
just pages and pages covered in Tipex.
Yeah.
Um, cool. That segues nicely. Emails does into our next question,
Mm.
which is on your phone, which I presume is an iPhone, as you've mentioned Apple Mac before.
No, it's not. I will not have an iPhone.
Oh, all right.
I'm very conflicted in this area. I've got a Samsung.
The Samsung phone, but a Mac computer.
Yeah, just roll with it. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. It's against the grain.
I have one
Um,
unread email, Richard, but let me just tell you on my emails, in my inbox, I've actually got 17,000 messages. They're all
well,
read,
only
but that's
yeah,
where they
only
live.
one unread.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the question was there, how many unread emails do you have on your phone right now? So yes, one is impressive.
Thanks.
So you get some people, don't you, who have to have all notifications cleared, and some people have
Yeah, none of
lots
them.
of notifications. Yeah, I was out for breakfast with a friend a couple of weeks ago, and I just caught a glimpse of their home screen as they were, as they picked up their phone, and they had like unread text messages.
Oh no, that's a
I was
crime.
like, I know. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, you got to read. I mean, I presume that that was their type of to-do list, and they made them unread or something. But it wasn't a small number. It was loads.
No, that would frighten me,
Um,
but then I don't have notifications switched on for anything because I need peace of mind. So,
yeah, I could see
yeah,
that. That might be like that might be a way forward. I mean, for me, in my type of work, it can be
you,
quite reactive.
yeah,
So obviously, for me, notifications everywhere.
yeah.
In fact, I just had to close down Outlook because I got a I got an email. I was like, no, no, I'm in the middle of something. Go away.
I'm busy now.
um, cool. So, I see your Big Bang Theory glass there. Are you a fan of the show?
I am actually. It's just silly and funny, and there's occasional bits of science in there. But yeah, this is actually my husband's glass. It's not mine. I've stolen it. But yes, very very entertaining show, I think, and there's some pretty good jokes on there.
Yeah, we were late to the party, as it were.
Oh.
We didn't discover it until I don't know, 2018 maybe. So I think that was just before the last series, I think. But yeah, we loved it. We've watched it through about 4 or 5 times, apart from the last episode. We don't watch that one.
You can't watch the last one because then it's over.
No,
No,
I know it's
it's
over,
not going to happen.
and we can't be crying while watching The Big Bang Theory. It's not fair.
No, for God's sake, it's a comedy show. Nobody wants to be crying.
I know, but his speech at the end is just so good and it's so heartfelt, and it's like he learnt all the lessons over like 12 years or whatever it was.
See, I haven't
But
watched it. I haven't watched it, so I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to. I haven't gone all the way through the whole series yet, so I just sort of tend to drop in and drop out. But we did used to watch it religiously, and especially when COVID was on, because there wasn't an awful lot else to do. We're like, oh, what should we watch? Let's watch some more Big Bang. We can run through a whole series in 2 days.
yeah, it is a good show for in the background. You don't need to pay too much attention, but when you do, it's a good one. I think I've got like a couple of key rings. I used to have the T-shirt for the Rock Paper Scissors Lizard Spock. I had that on a T-shirt.
Gonna have
It
to
was a
get
really
it
cool
out.
T-shirt.
Get it out.
I think all the pattern faded, and I don't think it
Oh,
fits anymore.
oh, Richard, that's sad.
I
That's very
know,
sad.
I know, I know. I'll have to buy a bigger one, won't I? Or lose
Yeah,
some weight,
yeah.
one of the two.
Have a look on eBay, see what's around. Or Vinted. That's
Yeah,
where my kids tell me the shopping is to be done today.
apparently that's where it's at,
Yeah,
Vinted.
yeah, so I hear. I mean, I've just downloaded it yesterday, so I mean, I've been using I just look at my daughter's, but she's cut me off. So like, no, get your own, mum. You can't have mine anymore.
Yeah, though of course people are making money on Vinted, and as the government have pointed out, if you make over £1,000, you must fill in a self-assessment.
Yeah, I, I have enough struggle filling out my self-assessment with just one business. I don't need to put a side hustle on there.
That's it. £999 is the limit on Vinted for
Oh.
selling, anyway.
I'll just be buying, Rich. I'm not going to be selling, I don't think.
No. Cool. So, last of our quickfire questions that haven't been so quick. So, if do you drive?
I do, yes.
So, if you can afford any car, money's no object. Don't worry about the tire costs. Don't worry about the emissions or the petrol costs, or more importantly, the insurance costs.
The
What
insurance.
car would you have?
I'm going to be really boring and say the car that I already have, but the GT line. So I've got a Renault Zoe, which is an electric car, and I really, really like it. I mean, it's not perfect. There are some things that they could do to make it better, but I had a go in the sort of the one that's about 2 years younger than mine, the GT line one. It's just really nice, and it's a lot more zippy. And my car's quite zippy already, but the GT line's just like a little bit more fun. So that would be, I think that would be my ideal next car.
Yeah, I do see those like little electric cars like the Zoe, and the Citroen have got like a really nice one out. It's a really tiny thing. And I always think, yeah, that'd be really nice. But I'm 6'1" and a little over 100 kilos. I can't imagine I'd be able to squeeze into a small electric car like that.
The Zoe's not that small actually, and I can tell you, my husband's 6 foot, my son's 6'2", and they can both get in there quite comfortably. And I'm on the tall side myself, so it's not a problem. A larger gentleman would definitely fit in it.
I'll go test drive one.
Yeah, have a go. They're really nice.
Yeah, cool. Right, so quickfire questions are done. Thanks for those. And I think we banged those out. Not too bad a time.
It wasn't too bad. No.
Yeah, I think we're gonna start timing that on future episodes.
Oh
See how
God.
fast we can get through them.
I think you have to
Right.
say to people, no digressions, just answer.
Yeah, that's it. But that's where you get all the fun facts, though, isn't it? And all the interesting
Yeah.
conversations there within the meat of the question, as it were.
Yeah, that's it.
So we've done what you wanted to be. You kind of, you moved around a little bit in office admin, etc. We've done how you got to where you wanted to be, or how you are where you are now. Now, we did say earlier, we don't, none of us want to grow up.
No.
But and I suspect I know the answer to this question. But if you could do anything, what would you do?
I would do what I'm doing now. I'm so happy with this job. I really am. I like being self-employed. I'm not really a team player. I'll happily admit to that. I don't want to enrich somebody else's pocket. I don't particularly want to enrich my own. What I want is to enrich other people's lives, and I feel that that's a goal that's achievable within what I do. I'm really, really happy that I've been able to support some families bring children into the world that they would not necessarily otherwise have been able to do. And that for me, having experienced infertility myself, makes me really happy and proud actually. The other thing that I would like to be when I grow up is fluent in Spanish. I'm trying really, really hard. It's bloody difficult. I don't know
Yes,
any grammar.
you mentioned this to me previously. Thursday nights is your class, isn't it?
It was, yeah. We're off for the summer, so back to college in September. So we've got absolutely no Spanish happening whatsoever at the moment. I haven't even looked at my homework, which is bad.
Oh well, hopefully your tutor won't watch the podcast.
Hopefully not. Although that would be bad for you, wouldn't it? So actually, yes, everybody watch the podcast and see how I'm not practicing my Spanish this school holidays.
I'm sure that you'll get some practice time in before the holidays are up.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a good go because doing it after a long break will be worse. So yeah, a little bit every day is my goal. I've got my Memrise app on my phone, which I'm trying to use, but I just I start trying to fit it in.
Yeah, you're braver than me. I'm not very good with languages. I struggle with English as it is, so never mind trying to learn a second language.
I think it does just give you a little bit of an insight into other cultures, though. Even just knowing a few words can be really helpful, and you know, just being able to like ask for a ticket or a drink or where a direction is or something like that really does sort of help you. And people in other countries are always, quite they're quite like uplifting of you if you've actually made an effort. Basically, I know everybody in Europe can speak English. That's a shame to me that you go somewhere and they're like, oh yes, would you like a cup of coffee, and in perfect English, and I'm like, I can barely manage to order a cup of coffee in several languages. But my goal is to be less bad.
Like cafe con leche, isn't it?
Yes, for a single one, if you want coffee with milk. But
Yeah.
the coffee menu's very extensive these days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I talk about. I went to a breakfast meeting this morning. We had two lattes, one cappuccino, one espresso, one americano.
Yeah, so you've got to know all of those in another language. So that could be quite challenging.
That could be cafe
Yeah.
con leche, por favor. I've been
Perfect.
caught. See, I know. Look at that. I've been
Yeah,
caught out of my lie, aren't I? When I said that I couldn't learn another language and I struggle with English.
you're doing brilliantly, Richard. It's absolutely
I
fine.
know. I know. Pat on the back for me. Cool. I won't put you on the spot and say give us some Spanish because that would be mean of me.
That would be
But
really mean of you, yeah, because immediately
yeah,
you ask the question, it goes out of your head, doesn't it?
That's it. Yeah, it's like let's do this. Oh, I don't know how to do that. Well, you do know how to do it. You just don't know how to do it under pressure. It's like, can you perform under pressure? Ro, can you perform under pressure? I think
Only
it goes a little something like
reflexology.
this. Ba 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 ba. No, that's not it. All right.
Okay, that's enough.
Oh dear. Look, I've embarrassed myself now. Look, I've gone red.
No, it's fine. We
All right.
can't tell because your lights are making you blue. It's fine.
Do you like the Rad Lights?
Yeah, they're okay. I don't know whether I'd want to look at them all day though.
Uh, well, yeah. Hopefully, well, the camera might cut me out in a minute when we cut it down.
Mm.
Coolio. So, really appreciate you being on the show, Rowena, Row. And
Oh, you did a crime. We talked
I've done
about
it. I've
this.
done it. We've talked about this. I've done it. I've messed it up. Rowena, yeah.
That is
Not.
correct. You get one pass.
That's
You've
it.
just used
And
it.
I've used it. That's gone. Yeah, faux pas on my fault. I do apologise.
It's fine.
So, thanks for
Right.
being on Rad-Ventures, Row. If you could tell us people, tell everyone that's listening where you hang out and how they can get hold of you.
Okay, so if you are on social media, I'm on Instagram and Facebook with the tag at fertility reflexologist. And if you want to have a look at my website, you can look me up at weymouthbayreflexology.co.uk. And if you click on my website, you'll probably get asked if you want to download my free guide to hand reflexology, which Richard talked about earlier, and that will get you onto my newsletter list. And then you can hear from me, my ramblings, once a month usually. And yeah, I look forward to meeting new people. And thanks so much for having me on, Rich. It's been really quite good fun.
No, that's fantastic, and I really appreciate you coming on. That is, and yours does sound like a rad venture, Row. So, thanks very much for listening. We'll be back next week. Peace out. Thanks for joining us on Rad-Ventures. Don't forget to subscribe via your favourite platform. Always happy to chat, so hit me up in the DMs, and I'll see you on the next Rad-Venture. That was all right, wasn't it? Is that okay, do you think?
Yep. I mean, I'm quite happy with it. You look at it when it's uploaded and see what happens.
Let's stop the record.